And I'm looking for, it says waiting, so that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, so it's 10, 15, 30 seconds delay.
And I'm looking for, it says waiting, so that's okay, I guess.
Yeah, so it's 10, 15
Yeah, go ahead.
delay.
Hey guys, so I think we're all set now. We're just turning on the live stream here. So welcome to the April 20th edition of our AppMaker office hours. And so my name is Christian Schalk. On the AppMaker team. I'm also joined with, we have two partners with us today. We have James Ferreira from Ignite Synergy and also AppMaker University. And then I also have some of our engineers here on the AppMaker team that have been working on our template or our turnkey solution applications. And so basically, they're going to be talking about some of the ideas that have been discussed so far. We're trying to put together some fresh ideas for some new solution apps. And then we also are joined by another partner, G Workplace. So Phil Thing will be giving us a demo on some of the stuff that they're doing today. So anyway, so yeah, just a quick walkthrough. Anything else that I didn't touch on? I think AppMaker University has some new stuff they want to share on their boot camp, and we'll pretty much open it up for Q&A. All right, so welcome everyone. Let's see if there's anything else I should check on for the live stream. I think we're good. I'll just keep an eye on the questions and stuff. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to hand it over to Phil. Phil, are you ready to go? Feel free to go.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Hopefully I'm sharing the meeting minutes data model. So the meeting minutes app is something that we developed at the back end of last year with AppMaker, and it provides a...
Just let us know once everything switches over and so we can see your screen.
Oh, you're good to go. Yep.
Yeah, are you seeing my screen?
Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, the Meeting Minutes app is, we developed it internally within G Workplace for our own use last year. And it provides a framework for creating a series of meetings with associated action items, discussion topics, and decisions. So before I start the demo, I thought it was worth having a quick look at the data model. And the idea is that we have a series of meetings. So that could be something like a weekly meeting, or you could have a development meeting, or product demos, or anything where you've got some repeating series of meeting instances. And then
just to make it easier, can you go ahead and click the present button so we get to zoom in on your screen there? Awesome, thank you so much.
Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, within a meeting series, we have a number of different instances of a meeting. So in this example that I'm showing, you might have a meeting invitation for the 1st of February 2017, you know, going weekly up to the 3rd of March. And that's a one-to-many relationship. You have many invitations within a series. And then for each meeting invitation, we can have discussion topics associated with them, action items, and decisions. And this is a many-to-many relationship because any discussion topics which are recurring will automatically carry over to the next meeting in the series. Any action items which are open will also carry over to the next meeting in the series. So that's enough of the model. I'll should be now presenting my meeting minutes screen. So let's have a look at this. First of all, I'm going to go into the administration view. I probably should go into full screen here as well, shouldn't I, Chris? Is that better? Yeah. Okay, so in the administration view, that's where we would create the meeting series. So it's possible to create meeting invitations here as well, but we can also do that in the organized meetings view, which we'll be looking at next. So what I've got here is I've just got a couple of meeting series set up, and you can see as I select a meeting that I get a number of different cards displayed in a grid here, and each of the cards represents an instance of the meeting, who's been invited, and so on. So let's create a meeting series. We'll call this, let's say we'll call it, this is where my fingers stop working, product demos. I can choose a calendar, which the meetings are integrated with the calendars, so I can choose a calendar that I want this meeting to be added to. I'll give it a location, say something like the Amsterdam room, because I'm based in the Netherlands. And then we can choose attendees from our directory. Put those attendees in, put Alfred in, put myself in, why not? And let's have one more just for look, put Bauke. So that's all we need to set up a sort of a series of meetings. So I'll click on create, and there we go. We've now got our product demos meeting series. If I want to create an invitation, let's go to the organized meetings view. And here I can create a meeting invitation. So this will ask me what kind of meeting I want to create an instance of. So I'm going to create a product demo invitation. Brings through a bunch of information from our controlling item. I'll give it a date. Let's do the product demos on Monday. We'll do that at 11 o'clock. We'll make it 30 minutes in the Amsterdam room. I can drop people out of the predefined list if I want to here, or I can add other people in if it's for a one-off case. But that's all there is to it. So when I create this meeting invitation, that will actually add it to the calendar, and it'll send an invitation out to the participants. What I can also do here is I can add meeting items. So let's have a discussion topic that we're going to put into this meeting. So it's a product demo. So let's, I don't know, review, do we have review product overview, something like that. Really can't type very well at all here. So brief description. If I choose that this is a recurring topic, it'll be added to subsequent instances of the meeting, but I'll just click on OK for that. That adds a discussion topic in. We could also have, as you see, we've got action items, decision points, which I guess you would add after the meeting, but let's put in action in something like arrange demo with customer. We'll make that an action, give it a target date of something like the week after, some description. Arrange a meeting with customer X, and we'll say that it's to be planned. Create that. Oh yeah, open. Yeah, that's not worked. Sorry about that, guys. That's taking the wind out of my sails. So we've created some meeting items. Let's have a look at what's happened in the calendar. It should have gone into the G Workplace shared calendar. So if I view that, the calendar will come up in a little window here. So here's our product meeting. You can see we're pulling in some descriptions of the discussion topics, actions, and decisions which are in the meeting. If I go for more details, that will open up the traditional view of the meeting. And now I can't get out of this. There we are, we're back now. So there's our calendar, which we can use to view meetings. A couple of other things I'd just like to show you here. If we look at, I've got the My Actions view, so that will show me any actions which have been created and are assigned to me. I can get in and edit those actions. Some further update information in here. You can see on the edit history we've got a log of the edits which have been made to the action, and that allows us to maintain actions associated with the meeting. And I also have a view of my meetings, so any meetings that I've been invited to will be displayed here, and as I click through them I can see the items which are in that meeting, and I can click through to get some further information on them if I want to. So it's quite a simple app, but we found it quite useful. It enables us to well, control our meetings from one point. It's got calendar integration, and that's it. I hope you like it.
Great, thanks a lot, Phil. Couple of questions for you. First question is like, how long did it take you to build? And maybe you can talk a little bit about the, you did talk about like the different models. I forget if you mentioned it. Did you, what database are you using as well?
This is built using the Drive tables. So Google Drive tables for the, where are we trying to have through? We've got a Drive table for the, there's a table for the meetings, the table for the invitations, and there's another table for the action items. What was the other question?
How long did it take to build?
It probably took it took a couple of weeks to build. At the time I was getting familiar with AppMaker, so I had to learn how to do things like, you know, integrate a calendar into yeah, to do this kind of thing, to display the calendar in an iframe and do the back-end programming to add calendar entries into the calendar. Took a little longer than I would have liked, but it was pretty quick to build. I think one of the things I like about it is the way that you get the card view, where here what we've got is we've got a grid displayed to the right hand side of this table. So any, you know, if you have a large number of topics, action items or whatever associated with the meeting, they're displayed in quite a compact format, and it resizes really nicely, so the user interface works really well there.
Oh, so you are using some of the flow layout features in AppMaker for the
yeah, there's I want to get out a full screen, I think, to kind of show this. Can't see my.
Well, that's okay. I mean, just to kind of, we can discuss it at a high level for now, since we also have the other stuff we want to bring up. But just to kind of recap, so the app you built in a few weeks, you're looking essentially to provide like a single point of control for your meetings. And I guess my final question was like, what is your plans for this particular app moving forward? Is this something that you want to share with the community, or how do you want to move forward with that?
Well, at the minute it's taking a bit of a back seat because we're concentrating on, we've got another app that we're putting a lot of effort into, our document management system. So this was something that we did last year. I think we'd be happy to share it within the AppMakers group to let people see how they can do things like calendar integration, for example. Yeah, I mean, they're on plans to take this forward as a product at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, no, that's really cool what you showed, and it's totally up to you. But if you do want to share it, I can definitely make sure that you know where the shared folder is for our community, and then we could always just, you know, put a message out to the users out there if they want to have a look at it and try it out. But any other final things you wanted to say before we switch topics?
No, I don't think so. I think yeah, I think I've gone through the main points that I want to display today.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for showing that. I'm going to switch back over to our slides here in a second, assuming I can switch over. Which is, for some reason on the Hangouts on Air, it's a little tricky. All right, give me 1 second. Check my screen. There we go. So hopefully you guys can see my screen. Yep, you're good to go. Great. So let's go ahead and switch gears a little bit. So I'm joined with our templates engineers, basically the folks working on the different templates. So we have Alex and Pavel and Andre. And I'll hand it over to Alex. And so we have a few slides just to kind of help the discussion. But basically, yeah, if you want to talk to some of the different ideas so far that we've been entertaining on the forum and talk through some of these ideas.
Yeah.
Cool.
So hi, AppMaker users. So what we're going to talk about today is some new ideas for new templates applications, AppMaker templates, new AppMaker templates. It's not an apps yet, it's just ideas that we are going to discuss with you, and we do really want to hear from you, hear your feedback, your preferences, your ideas as well. So we have several ideas currently, and I'm gonna go through them one by one and just highlight some key features of the app. So the first idea we are discussing to create a simple app, really simple. It's kind of a clipboard management tool. So let's imagine that you have some really small application and you can use it for save some little small piece of text and make it private and use it yourself and share with your colleagues. And you can get to it just every time and just see all your pastes, all your saved maybe code snippets, some text pieces and so on, and search it, get it, find it every time you want, share with your colleagues, maybe can comment something and so on. So each paste you have is available by its own URL. So you can have, I don't know, just some similar piece of code snippets, some just common examples, just anything. So I know that many software development companies use some kind of software, this kind of software. So I guess it can be useful. So if you think it can be useful for your company, please vote. So you can go to our AppMaker user group and vote for this app.
I could see a Chrome extension maybe, or an add-on or something like that, kind of integrated with this as well, just so it's like.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of high-level vision. So it can be extended and so on. So we can add some features or remove some features, but that's the main idea of this app.
And again, it's not, these are just ideas at this point, and so we're just kind of throwing them out there to see what people think. But yeah, we're definitely, should we move to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So,
yeah, so the next step is really useful for any company, I guess. It's mainly just service desk, internal support system, so where employees can register some problems, I don't know, some their needs. So for example, my computer is broken, I have no network connection, some problems with software, and so on and so on. And some people inside the company are responsible for such problems. So the system can help them all registering these tickets, processing this, tracking ticket status, write some comments, receive some email notifications about status change. So, and also we can include just some basic feedback that employees can provide about the service of internal service desk system. So the idea is not new, but it's pretty useful. And
Yeah, I can see the notion of attached documents. I assume like just using Drive Picker in this case, which is definitely one of the requests that a lot of people have, just to show like, you know, how to integrate Drive Picker in different ways to query data also using the picker. So, or yeah, cool. Anything else, or I'll switch on over?
Yeah, I guess.
Now, for those of you on the live stream, feel free to, if you have any questions about these ideas, or even +1 the ideas, if you like them, great. Or even if you have your own fresh ideas that you want to see, feel free to use the live stream while we're at it.
Yeah, so the next idea is expense approval app. So an employee can create expense report, can add some expense items to the report, attach some supportive documents from Drive, I don't know, write some comments and so on, and define some stages of approval, if any, if more than one, set some approvers, I don't know, for example, manager or some financial department employees, and get approval for any work-related expenses for anything. So yeah, can be also really useful. If you find it useful for your company, please just share your opinion.
Yeah, actually, just a little bit of insight on that. We actually published an internal expense approval. It's basically like an educational reimbursement application that we have internal here at Google, which was actually built on AppMaker, and it was basically built after a lot of research was done on how to build this system, and the engineering team that looked at it, they kind of weighed the cost of you know, hiring like a full team of engineers to build it using traditional software techniques and traditional software, like full stack. But basically at the end of it, it just made sense to just go ahead and build out this solution using AppMaker, and it published, and it actually provides like a good, you know, thorough service for internal educational reimbursements for Google. So yeah, I'll move on. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so the next idea is to-do list. Pretty simple app. Many of you just used some to-do lists on daily basis. So the idea is that each employee can create some simple lists of tasks, many lists, make some lists private, some of them share with colleagues, set assignees, due dates for each item, add some comments, maybe attach some files from Drive, get some notifications when status change. So really simple, like tool for tracking some tasks to do and so on. So if it's useful, if you really need this tool, please vote, and this template will be implemented, and you will have this turnkey solution with all other AppMaker template apps.
Cool. Yeah, I think this was kind of at the top of my list as well. I think it's, and this is actually one of the things that I think we also want to continue to explore. Is like, obviously we have like a set of fairly sophisticated like turnkey solutions, but we also want to consider making a little bit more like just simple 1 or 2 concept type of sample or example applications that you can also see, like get right out of the box from AppMaker. So like, for example, a to-do list, it may not really be very complex at all, and just, you know, providing that. So that way when the end user can start off with AppMaker, they can have a kind of a collection of different applications to start with, both in complexity as well as like the overall scope. Cool, let's move on. Yeah.
Absence approval, one more approval app. So the employee can beforehand plan, register their leaves, whether it's regular vacation, sick leave, exceptional leave, or just leave without pay, just anything. Get their manager's approval for that. Can also see their absence history, for example, how many days I took, I don't know, previous month, previous year, anything, and also as usual notifications when the request status change, when you get your approval and so on. So just like vacation tracking system, absence approval.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
The next one, and actually this the last idea I want to share today, it's room and equipment reservation system. So basically, each company has some resources, for example, rooms or some particular equipment, for example, projector or something like that. The resources are usually limited, and company needs a system to book internal resources, search resources, plan their activities beforehand, see available times. For example, this room is available, I don't know, yesterday in that time range, in this time range. So this app provides you with all this stuff. Also, you will get notifications about your bookings, some confirmation. So you booked this projector or this room from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., for example. So it's booked, it's not available for booking to other employees and so on. So that's basically this idea about this.
Cool. So also before moving on, just to let you know, if you joined late, all of our office hours are recorded, and so you can actually just go back and look up one of these videos, because we did have some cool stuff earlier where one of our partners was demoing an application that they built for calendar and meeting management. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. So currently we discussed just several of the ideas we are considering. It's not an apps. It's not in a plan yet, but it's some ideas, and we do really want to hear from you, hear your feedback. Some of AppMaker users already gave their feedback, and we know that some of the ideas most likely will be implemented, and there is a high demand for this app. So please share your opinion. Just go to the AppMaker user group and just post +1 for interesting idea. Also share your own ideas. We will discuss and consider each idea, every new application idea. So if you think that you have some business case, that some idea for app which can be useful for your company and also some other companies, so please share your idea, and it can be implemented as new template application.
Yeah, totally. And also I should say that as a member of AppMaker users group, you do have access to a shared folder where we can share content. So if you do want to share an application, it's actually trivial to do that. All you have to do is just export the application into a zip file, and you can load it into the shared folder. And so we've actually done that over the last year or so, where we put out like kind of some draft ideas or just simple one-off examples of how to do things. And so in that sense, if you have something that you might want to, even if you have more than an idea, but if you have some kind of a starter app or whatever, feel free to share it, and then we can make it available within our shared folder as well. Cool. Anything else you wanted to touch on? Otherwise,
I guess we covered everything for now.
Yeah. From a timing standpoint, we're trying to wrap up, like our planning for the next quarter, and just figure out what would make the most sense, both from like business sense and what our users want to see out of AppMaker in that sense. Cool. So let's go ahead and switch gears. And I want to go ahead and hand it over to James. And he's going to be talking about a couple things that they have both with his company, Ignite Synergy, as well as what they have now with the boot camp coming up. So
yeah. Great, thanks, Chris. Thanks for the introduction there. And I saw we had a question while you guys were working on that. Let's see, I'll read the question. It says, how easy would it be to use the camera on a device running the app, so you can take pictures of photos and that kind of thing? And so if you're using the Drive Picker, it works great. It'll actually let you choose the camera or from your gallery when you go to do that, and then you just upload it like anything else you would upload, and then put it in the AppMaker. So really great integration on that, and it does work well. So definitely something. So what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was just, it's been, we made it through the first quarter of the year here, Ignite Synergy. So what Ignite Synergy does is it's a custom development business. We build apps for businesses that, want to use the Google platform. And we've switched all of that development from the first of the year over to AppMaker. And it's been a really great first quarter. We're super happy. The customers are really really impressed with the apps and how well they're working for them. Some of them are managing huge systems, global systems with some of these things, and so it's doing really well. And I also want to tell you a little story about last week, because one of the things that Ignite Synergy does is we make significant donations to a nonprofit called Spoken For, which provides services to human trafficking survivors. And last week, the police found girls right here in the U.S. this is actually happening, kept in cages. And we were Spoken For was the organization that was able to go in and provide them immediate housing that same day and get them set up with the services they needed. And that was really due in a large part to the donations that we've been making to Spoken For, and of course having AppMaker as a product to be able to build a business on. So that was really amazing. We've been sharing that with our customers and that are using AppMaker products. So super awesome. We're really excited about that. I also want to give you a little bit of update on AppMaker University. So the website's looking great. We've got a lot of videos, 33 videos up there now that help training on the product. And we've got a boot camp that's running now. We've got about 30 students that are signed up for that. It's got 10 modules. It takes you from no knowledge of AppMaker to being able to proficiently build apps. Each module is about an hour and a half long, so it's 15 hours worth of training. And we're really, right now, we're looking for more students. Of course, the list is starting to get a little bit long, but so also we're looking for trainers. So if you know some JavaScript or you have some JavaScript experience and you're wanting to start doing things like training people on how to use AppMaker, we are looking to train trainers. So we'd like to work with you if that's something that's in your wheelhouse and you think you could do. So,
Hey, James.
I'm sure to give us a call.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Quick question is, like, did you want to show any of your kind of like some of your like you shared with me like the course list earlier?
Yeah. I'll do a quick.
That's a pretty good idea what the different topics you're covering.
Give me 1 second here, and I'll pull up the screen share and throw the syllabus up here. Let's see. Okay, so this is the basic syllabus. So we're planning on offering 3 different classes. So the first one is the basic training. So this is the getting started and understanding how AppMaker works, all the pieces, all the nooks and crannies, what it does, how you make an app, all that kind of stuff. We're also planning on doing an intermediate and advanced course. The advanced course is probably going to be pretty heavy into AppScript, which is the back-end scripting language that allows you to do a lot of the programming that you might need to do in larger apps especially. We have some apps out there that have more than 100 pages in them and 50 different data tables and things like that. They're gigantic applications. So it does take a little bit of scripting to be able to tie all that together. And so that's what those advanced courses will be like. We're also looking at EDU. So if you're a school and you're wanting to get students involved in this, we think it's a great place to start for students. If they're wanting to learn to get into programming and that kind of thing. Businesses, we're finding that businesses they really need this. They've been building these applications in spreadsheets and forms and storing too much data that a spreadsheet really isn't suited for. And we just see businesses of all sizes and all types where they're needing to create apps that are built on a database, not on a spreadsheet. And so they have that need. Somebody's got to fill the need. So we really feel if we can get enough people trained, if we can get enough trainers out there to also help with the training, we could really create some momentum in the marketplace and getting these apps there and adding some value.
Cool.
But that's our curriculum, yeah. So it's been great. It's really we add a lot of little hidden things, after we've been developing for I guess about 6 months on this platform, and so we've written a lot of apps, and I think we're probably over 20 apps now in production with clients. So we've learned a few things, and so these modules aren't just just a recap of what you might be able to learn just by going through the app. It also includes all the little tips and secrets that we've figured out that allow you to be much more proficient at being able to program and avoid a lot of the pitfalls that are inherent with any kind of programming. So we'd love to talk to you. AppMaker University, we've got a contact form there, or you can contact us on the forums or anywhere. We're just about everywhere, so just look us up.
Awesome. Cool. So Is there anything else you wanted to cover on your side, either with the AppMaker University or with the work you're doing with Ignite Synergy?
Well, we could talk a little bit about some of the different things that we're doing, with some of the clients, the applications we're building. So a lot of scheduling apps, a lot of workflow apps that we're working on. That seems to be a really popular thing, being able to do that. So, those are a couple places that we see things. Expense management, a huge one there. That we're really, it's funny because a lot of the businesses that we talk to, they originally approach us from the app script standpoint, where they want some app scripts to help manage the spreadsheets that have just gotten out of control. And when we start talking to them, they're like, well, why do you have 100,000 rows of data in a spreadsheet? You could never possibly even scroll through all that data. So, what you really need is a database. It's like, let's just put this stuff in AppMaker, and once we put it into AppMaker, they're like, wow, I had no idea I could do all of this stuff. And then they built these really great applications. They get huge engagement from the staff that's working on them, where they were grumbling about the spreadsheet to begin with. It takes 5 minutes to load the stupid spreadsheet. They were hearing that kind of thing, and now they're running the AppMaker app. They're mobile responsive, so they can use them on their phones and on every device that they have. And it's created this entirely different view of how we can do business applications and how that kind of stuff can work. Not only that, we feel that it's something that we can train most competent power users, or what we are trying to coin the phrase citizen developers, to be able to develop these things. So whether you're a freelancer that's looking for something new to do and you're finding it really hard to compete in maybe a PHP market or something like that, where it's extremely competitive, AppMaker's really pretty wide open right now from that standpoint. So great place for new developers to jump in, but also for businesses to be creating these apps themselves. So amazing.
Cool. Thanks, James. So I noticed we have a question on the live stream. It has to do with importing apps, and I think we can probably talk to that pretty easily, in the sense that in case you haven't done it, you can actually import or export an application to a zip file, and that zip file can be placed on a Google Drive. And so that drive can be shared with a number of people or with groups and so forth, and so that's essentially how it's pretty easy to share applications once they've been downloaded into zip files. And the other thing is, with regards to Team Drive, if you were specifically referring to Team Drive, that's something that's a little bit more to it, and that's the integration that's going to be coming. I can't nail down the exact date, but that's something that's being spec'd out right now as we move forward. So like more, basically more specific Team Drive support and AppMaker is coming. But in general today, if you're good with what current Google Drive can do with regards to file sharing and so forth, you can easily just share apps that way. And that's essentially what we do also internally. Many times we just export a zip and then we just place it in a folder. And also we have our shared folder for our community that we also put out zip files of various examples and so forth. So cool. Let's see, it looks like there's a few more questions coming in. Question on reporting. That's a good question. So in the general sense, reporting can be done in a couple of ways. And actually reporting in AppMaker, there's been a number of examples both internally as well. So first of all, right off the bat, we do provide some basic widgets for the common types of bar charts, pie charts, and so forth. And those literally, there's not really much to it. You can just drag and drop one of those widgets. Essentially, they're provided as widgets onto a page, and then you data bind them. In some cases, you can actually step through a little mini wizard that makes it a little bit easier to bind the charts to your backend data. Now, a lot of times you have to aggregate the data, for example, so you would want to not necessarily show every single record, but then aggregate totals and things like that. That's, at least if you use the widgets out of the box, you do have to do a little bit of backend, using, say, a calculated data source. The other option is you could rely on SQL to kind of aggregate or create the exact data that you want, which you can then plug into a model, which can then be viewed in a chart, or a chart that's implemented within a widget. So that's kind of straight out of the box stuff. Now, if you want to get into more interesting charts, you can also integrate third-party JavaScript libraries, D3, for example. And that's pretty straightforward. And you just go into the settings, and then there's a setting there where you can add in any JavaScript libraries, and then once you get it loaded, then it's a matter of just calling like the functions or whatever to render the applications. And so it does take a little bit more scripting knowledge, obviously, but if you're familiar with like third-party JavaScript libraries for charting and reporting or visualizing things, you can totally do that. But yeah, that's pretty much what we've seen so far. Now, getting into a little bit more like pivot records, I guess pivot tables, things like that. That really depends on like what kind of technology you would be using for visualizing the data. I don't think there might be stuff out there like from a visualization standpoint of how to do that directly without having to get into too much coding. But anyway, I would say you can always experiment and see what works out, and if you find something useful, feel free to share it with the community.
Hey, Chris, one option we've been having some success with is because a lot of our clients are larger corporations, so we're running Cloud SQL for their apps. It's because they have a lot of other data need that needs to connect to that same data. Google Data Studio has been really awesome. So a lot of visual, just drag and drop and create pretty incredible reports. It connects right to Cloud SQL, so it adds that third piece that's saves you from having to do a lot of coding. You can do really sophisticated, kind of like the Crystal Reports kind of thing, only on Google Cloud. So great tool that's provided by Google, and it's included in G Suite. So nice piece there. And we also have a video on AppMaker University on how to do those calculated models as well.
Yeah, that was one of your first ones, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, no, definitely calculated models is a good handy tool to know how to use. So let me move on. We have another question asking about how to import part of an application as a reusable module. And so this is actually an area that we're still working out. There's a spec in development, and there's internal discussions going on. Basically, the idea is that you want to be able to share not necessarily the entire application, but you want to say mix and match like different components of an application between apps. And so this is something that we're definitely aware of, and it's just a matter of continuing down to nail down the final, I say the specification for how we want to support it. So I would say if this is something that's very important to you, let us know, because we can continue to prioritize these features. And yeah, no, it's without a doubt something that's coming, but we just also have to kind of factor it in for our longer term plans. So yeah, to sum up, yeah, to be able to import specific components of one application and bring them into another application is something that's being spec'd right now. So, but feel free to chime in, let us know how important that is to you, so we can make sure to continue to prioritize as needed. Cool. Anything else? Again, also, if you're on the live stream, just feel free to use the live chat, and we'll take the questions as they come. Anything on your guys's?
I'll throw one out there for you, just to add to the mix of things. But how about dealing with time zones? What are some of the things that you guys have seen at Google as far as making time zones a little bit simpler to deal with?
Yeah, I don't know if we have like a perfect solution, unless you guys have anything. I'm just looking at like Alex and Pavel here. I know we've dealt with that in a number of applications internally, but I don't know if we had like a single solution, like just going off of, for example, going off of GMT and letting that kind of dictate like the application, and then you check the local time zone and then convert on the fly or something like that. Yeah, well, that's a good question though. Does that come up a lot in your work?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the businesses we work with are global businesses, so they're looking at well, how do we manage these different time zones when we're saying creating appointments or doing anything that has to do with calendar. Of course, anybody that's done a whole lot of JavaScript programming, absolutely hates anything that has to do with dates. But we do all have to, as we're building business apps, we do have to work.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point, and we probably should put a little bit more cycles into like addressing that, even if it's just kind of like talking about it in the discussion forum, or maybe putting some guidance in a small tutorial or whatever. But yeah, I think you're right. I'm kind of curious if Phil is still with us, if he also deals with that, considering that he's in Europe, but then I'm sure he's dealing with a lot of stuff, between Europe and USA and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would just concur that it's a pretty horrible problem to have to deal with.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's a good bit of feedback, so maybe we can continue to look at that and maybe put our minds together and see what type of best recommendation for dealing with time zones. Yeah.
So another area, since I don't see any new questions coming across yet, but just to keep the conversation going here, one area that is really super powerful is being able to assign properties to your different data sources, and then be able to set those dynamically and have the data returned in different ways. Really great feature, and we really like using the query builder in those, because it's it's so dead simple to use. It doesn't really take coding because the language is quite natural. The one thing that it seems to be somewhat limited on some of what it can do. So it does just everything after the where clause, but there's a few things that are missing, like between. And some of those things. I was wondering if there's any plan on extending the query builder's capabilities, because it really is a great feature.
So that's good to know. Yeah, because that's one of the features that I don't know if everyone fully is aware of. Because if you kind of step back a bit, if just the notion of being able to filter data, you can get by without having to write any code. You just use the data binding picker and set the filter to a particular field or whatever. But also, if you're new to AppMaker and you hear this term query builder, what query builder does in a nutshell is give you a little bit more control of the type of query to filter or whatever, fetch data, and gives you full SQL access to that kind of stuff. And so what James is pointing out is that you get a certain amount of SQL type query access, but continuing to expand on that, or at least continuing to use more aspects of SQL, is not quite there yet. And so I don't know off the top of my head, unless you guys have heard anything. I'm looking at our team here, if we have any kind of specific updates for Query Builder. I don't think so, but it's probably something we could bring up with the team here, just to see if there's some further discussion on that. But no, it's good that you brought it up, and I would say if the community wants to see continued refinement of the Query Builder, then yeah, I think it could happen. And I definitely agree. Yeah, it's a very powerful feature once you know what it can provide. Gives basically a lot more flexibility on fetching and working with data.
Normally, if a Query Builder is not flexible enough, then most likely you need to switch to calculated data model.
Yeah.
So and do it with server script or with full featured SQL.
Right. So I don't know if you could hear Pavel's response, but basically, yeah, if you find that you're not able to use the exact SQL that you want, then yeah, resorting to a calculated model with your own scripting solution as well. It's kind of the backup plan. I don't know if you have to resort to that. I assume you end up doing that, James, as well.
Yeah, actually, I mean, the calculated or the SQL query for calculated model is awesome. I mean, you can completely build entire SQL statements, do joins, and all of that kind of stuff, return it into a table, and it's an amazing tool. And so really, once you've connected your SQL database, you can run it all from AppMaker, including doing those sophisticated calculations with, like I was saying, complex joins, select statements within joins, and all that kind of stuff is all possible right there in the editor. So great feature there. We'd like to see that come to drive tables as well, of course. That'd be really awesome.
Cool. So I noticed we have a few more questions coming in on our chat window. We can probably step through those fairly quickly. Part of the application to reusable modules. So we touched on that, and then the time zone with triggers, or just triggers in general. So I guess talking about triggers is something. So in case you haven't used it, triggers are analogous to like cron or just scheduled jobs, and it's a feature that's been with AppScript for a while. I'm kind of curious though, like actually, yeah, there are some known pain points with triggers. For example, turning on a trigger, you have to write basically the way you work with triggers is all through coding. So you have to essentially have code ready to turn on, turn off, access, query, all that kind of stuff so that you can manage triggers effectively in application. Now, what has been brought up in the past, and it's something that we could probably continue to look into, is a little bit more like easier trigger management. So like a console, if you will, like kind of like where you can see all your triggers, see their states, and then be able to manage them through a UI, as opposed to having to write your own code to do that. But yeah, no, that's definitely, I would agree that that's kind of like something that would be definitely nice to have. Again, AppMaker's implementation of triggers is just based purely off of what AppScript provides you, and it's pretty fundamental, I would say, at that point. Let's see, there's another question about external library, AppScript library catalog. Did you guys see the question about the AppScript library catalog?
Yeah, I saw that one. So
Yeah.
that's kind of, I guess, a little more up my alley because of the AppScript experience. So there is on the AppScript website, there is a notable script libraries. If you just type into a Google search notable libraries, and I guess I could post the link in here. It has several libraries that were produced by different app scripters that can be really super helpful. It's a little older. We haven't really spent a lot of time there lately. And I was thinking about this. This is actually a great question, and it's something I'd be happy to do. We should probably start a thread in the user forum. So if you can go to the user forum and start a thread about this external libraries, I would be happy to put those up on AppMaker University just to have a place to hold them. So if that's something that everybody's interested in, certainly there are things. We have one that allows you to do auto numbering in drive tables. It's just a little library that you can install. It's really easy to use. So if we have more features like that, I think libraries, community provided libraries, would be a resource to have. So I'm happy to put those up.
Yeah, definitely. Cool.
I have a question regarding the user interface in AppMaker. What I find quite difficult sometimes is the fact that you don't have a tabbed interface. So when you have to switch between design elements within your app, you kind of lose context. Anybody who's done any scripting with like a Google script file, you can have a whole bunch of script libraries, a whole bunch of components open at a time, and you can tab between them. And it would be nice to be able to have, a few pages open at the same time as I've got a few different script libraries open. Is there any possibility of that being added as a feature request?
Well, yeah, it's always a possibility. So one thing I would definitely recommend is, and this goes, really for anyone, is you can always send in feedback, and that will trigger essentially an issue or a bug that gets processed on our side. And if you also kind of you can also reference it in the forum as well, saying like, you would definitely see a value in a particular feature. This feature that you're mentioning is, yeah, I mean, it's something that has come up here internally in discussions. There's been still, as we're moving towards GA and a number of things right now, just trying to clean up things like, for example, accessibility, etc. These are all kind of vying for like the cycles and stuff on an engineering front. But yeah, there's definitely room for improvement, I would say, in a number of areas. I mean, just little like probably low-hanging fruit here and there, but when you get into like tab windows or just some of like fundamental kind of like more IDE-like stuff, yeah, definitely feel free to send that feedback our way, and just feel free to describe like the use case and how you think it would be ideal. That way it'll just kind of help the team more or less continue to prioritize, so we can continue to refine the editor experience. One thing I should say is that in general, AppMaker, it's an interesting product in that it speaks to obviously like engineers, people with technical backgrounds, but at the same time it's also catering to a more diverse audience, kind of like the citizen developer, people who are maybe not like full stack software engineers, but people who are more focused on business applications. And so it's a bit of an internal discussion where we've had where it's like, do you want to like max out all of the very, very developer centric types of features, or do you want to continue to try to refine and simplify the access? And I think the answer is still somewhere in between, and this is where, like, getting continued user feedback along the way will continue to, I think, help guide AppMaker into, as it evolves and post, GA launch as well. Cool.
Thanks.
So Chris, I was thinking a really great feature would be to add Google Assistant to the editor, so you could just say, "Okay, Google, attach Gmail."
Yeah, no, I agree. No,
Not right to Google at all.
Okay, Google, develop me a to-do list.
yeah, okay, exactly.
Yes.
Okay, Google. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but this is definitely the great kind of feedback, and we just keep the discussions going, and I'm sure we'll get there. We'll definitely have some cool stuff in the pipeline as well. So cool. All right. Anything else we want to touch on the live stream? I see something about scripting. Added multi-line strings in ECMAScript 2015. Do you have any information on that? I'm not sure if I fully understand that question. I don't know if you saw the question here.
So, in latest versions of JavaScript, there are some special syntax to support multi-line strings, more elegant than older versions of JavaScript, but we are using the older version for JavaScript in AppScript and AppMaker, so there is not that nice support. What we will suggest if you need to have this multi-line string is using some model, and so if you have model for those long strings, you can implement some simple UI. For instance, it can be accessible only for administrators, and it will be easier to edit it. Also, I have a sample. So recently we have this issue internally, and I have a super simple sample with integrating these multi-line strings editing with CodeMirror. So for instance, if you need to edit some query, SQL query, or maybe some piece of code, or maybe some template for email notifications, you can integrate it with CodeMirror, and in this case, you have code highlighting, maybe even autocomplete, and other nice features that CodeMirror can provide.
Okay, so maybe, and if there's a question on the forum that addresses that, we could kind of reiterate a little bit of what you mentioned, I guess, as well.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're starting to run out of time. Is there anything else we want to try to tackle? It looks like there's also any widgets that will allow you to connect Gmail messages to database records. Well, from a high-level standpoint, I mean, a widget, I mean, I guess it really depends, like, how you set up the connection between, like, Gmail and whatever your database. Trying to.
Yeah, so Chris, we can use the Gmail API. Well, it's one of the built-in services in AppScript, so we can use that on the server side to fetch the emails, and because each email has a unique ID, we could just basically load those into a data table with a calculated model, and then yeah, you'd just be able to view them in a regular table. So that'd be pretty straightforward, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that works. Cool. I guess we're pretty much out of time, but definitely I want to thank our partners, with Phil Thang from gWorkplace for showing his meeting and calendar management application, and we look forward to see if there's anything you want to share with the community. And of course, a big thanks to James, as always, for just kind of keeping everything running, especially helping out on the live stream and the office hours and all that stuff. So big thanks for James. And then also, really cool stuff with what you have from an educational standpoint with your AppMaker University and the boot camp and all the material you're putting together as well. So yeah, without anything else, I guess we can start to wrap it up. Thanks again, guys. Oh yeah, so just a quick reminder, we're going to try to run these on a weekly basis, providing we have like some content to share. And so that way, if we miss a week, we're not going a whole month without doing an office hour. So we're going to try to just kind of keep this discussion going. And also, we do have our video. So we'll post the videos of these recordings as we move on forward. Cool. Anything else, guys, or are we good to go?
Maybe some spoilers for the next session.
For next.
Corporate store
Oh,
spoiler.
sure. Yeah, we could show the corporate store template application next. We have Andre here. He's smiling. So yeah, we have some. Yeah, obviously templates continue to be developed, and so we're getting getting closer. Cool. Yeah, a little bit of a teaser there. So good stuff coming. All right, we're gonna go ahead and sign up for my side, but thanks a lot.
Great. Thanks.